In this video, we're going to look at differentiation. Before you watch this video, I'd recommend watching the Introduction to Differentiation video. Okay, so as you should have seen in the Introduction to Differentiation video, to differentiate, you bring down the power, so you multiply by the power, and you reduce the power by 1. Okay, so if you were differentiating y equals x to the n, you'd then have an answer of n, x to the power of n minus 1. Okay, let's have a look at some examples. So first of all, we've been asked to differentiate a, which is x squared. So to differentiate that, what you're going to get is you're going to get dy by dx is equal to, bring the power down, so 2, and then x, and reducing the power by 1 would then be 1, but you don't need to write that, so the answer would be dy by dx is equal to 2x. Next, we're going to differentiate x to the power of 5. So again, right, dy by dx. Okay, so you're going to bring down the power, so it's going to be 5x, and then reduce the power by 1, so it's going to be to the power of 4. Okay, and finally, 3x squared. So again, dy by dx. Bring the power down. Now we've got a 3 here, so we're going to bring it down and we're going to multiply. So we're going to do 3 times 2 is 6x, and then reduce the power by 1, well, it's then going to be to the power of 1. So the answer would just be 6x. Okay, let's have a look at some more examples. Now the wording is slightly different in these ones, but it's exactly the same. So this time it says find dy by dx when y equals 6x cubed minus 5x plus 8. So we've got y equals 6x cubed minus 5x plus 8. Next, now it's very important that you get the notation right here. Okay, so we're going to differentiate this. So it's then going to be dy by dx equals, bring the power down, so 6 times 3 is equal to 18, x, reduce the power by 1, 2. Differentiating minus 5x, well, that's then going to be, differentiating, it's going to be minus 5. There's a 1, you bring it down to be 5, or minus 5, and reducing the power by 1 would be a 0, x is 0 is 1. So whenever you differentiate something like 4x, it'll be 4. If you differentiate 9x, it's going to be 9. If you differentiate minus 5x, it's going to be minus 5. And differentiating constants, differentiating numbers will give you 0. So differentiating x would be plus 0, but you don't need to write that. So that's it done. If you differentiate y equals 6x cubed minus 5x plus 8, you would get 18x squared minus 5. Next, that was a. Next, b, y is equal to x to the power of minus 5. So again, let's differentiate this. So dy by dx equals, bring the power down, minus 5, x, and then reduce the power by 1. So minus 5 take away 1 would be minus 6. So that's it. Dy by dx equals minus 5, x to the minus 6. Sometimes you might want to rearrange this. For instance, if I wanted to substitute in perhaps 2 into this, it might be easier to rearrange it. And just if you want to, you can bring the x to the minus 6 back down to the denominator to give you minus 5. And then bring the x to the power of minus 6 to the denominator to be x to the minus 6, or minus 5 over x to the 6, like that, if you wanted to. This would be right if it just said differentiate, but you may want to rearrange it to get minus 5 over x to the 6. And finally, well, let's differentiate y equals the square root of x. Now before we can differentiate it, we have to have it in the form where it's x with a certain power. Now here we've got the square root. So remember, square root is the same as to the power of a half. Now be very careful with the notation here. Don't change it to dy by dx yet. We're not differentiating yet. We're just writing this as x to the power of a half, like so. Now let's differentiate this. So then dy by dx equals, bring the half down, so a half, and then x, and taking 1 away from the power, so a half take away 1 would be minus a half, like so. So the answer would be dy by dx equals a half x to the minus a half. Again, if you wanted to rearrange this, because it's got a minus power, you can bring it to the denominator. So it's going to be 1 over 2, and then x to the half, like so. So you could write this in this format if you wish. Also, you could put that back in as a square root, so it'd be 1 over 2 root x. So if you were to differentiate y equals root x, the first thing you need to do is realize the power is a half. Keep it as y equals. Then differentiate, so bring the power down, reduce the power by 1. And that could be u done, or you could rearrange it into either of these two formats. Okay, last couple of questions. This time again is another notation. So notice all these different types of notation you could be given. You could the question could just say differentiate. It could say find dy by dx when y equals, or it could say find f dash x when f of x equals, and so on. So let's do the first one here. So we've got f of x equals 3x to the power of 2/3. Okay, so let's differentiate this. So f dashed x equals, we're going to bring the power down and multiply, so we're going to have to do 3 times 2/3. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 over 3, and then 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that would be 2x, and we're going to take 1 away from the power. Now the power was 2/3, we're going to take away 1, well 1 is 3/3. When we take that away, we get minus 1/3. So the power would be minus 1/3. So the answer is 2x to the minus 1/3. Again, if you wanted to rearrange this, you could. Because it's got a minus power, you could put it on the denominator, so 2 over x to the third, if you wish. Or remember, even, that the power of a third is the cube root, so it would be 2 over the cube root of x. Okay? And finally, let's differentiate f of x equals 1 over x cubed. Now remember, from here, whenever you want to differentiate, it's going to be x to the power of the number. Here we've got 1 over x, so let's bring the x cubed to the numerator. So that's going to be the same as x to the minus 3, like so. Actually, I'm just going to write it as I would in an exam. Normally what I would do is I'd write it out again, f of x equals, bring it up to the numerator, x to the minus 3, like so. Now we can differentiate. So we've got f dashed x equals, bring the power down, minus 3x, take 1 away from the power, so it's going to be minus 4. So the answer is f dashed x equals minus 3x to the minus 4. Again, if you want to, you can put the x to the minus 4 in the denominator, so you're going to get minus 3 over x to the 4, like so. Okay, so that's differentiation. I would recommend now you watch the next video, which is differentiating using standard results.